Hello, hello, everyone. I am Brianna Lightfoot Smith. I'm the founder of Be Light Media. I'm also a mom of four, so at any point, my children may make guest appearances. Hopefully, they'll keep most of those limited. I am grateful to be here with you all. And if I'm honest, I am tired, child. Tired from the day, tired from the month, and it's only after I was preparing for this live that I realized how much has transpired this month. And so, prayerfully, this week will be a chill week and we'll be able to catch up on rest. I have a framework within my company, Be Light Media, and the framework is actually REST. The R stands for restore, the E is for energize, the S is for sustain, and the T is for track. And we're not going to get into the depths of that today, but I just wanted to share because it comes up so much, and I am grateful to God all of the time for the fact that I have a business that requires me to take really great care of myself because I have the opportunity to be my biggest case study. So that's a little bit about me. I do these lives. My goal is to do them bi-weekly. And even if I haven't done them bi-weekly for the month, it is my goal to have an end of month wrap up just because first guest appearance, just because I think it's important for us to reflect. And I think that whether you feel like you are achieving all of your goals or if it feels like none of your goals are getting accomplished, there's an opportunity for you to be able to assess like what is and isn't working. So, we are going to do that today. I have my Freedom and Flow planner right here with me. I'll be referencing it throughout the conversation today. I'm also going to put a link to it in the chat in case, as we're going through it, you're like, you know what, friend? This sounds like something I could use. I'm going to drop the link. It's BriannaLightfitSmith.com/flow. We have a 12-month version, a 4-month version, and we have a digital version as well. And there's links or videos rather that show the differences between all of those here on my channel. As I shared, all you're going to need for today is a pen and a planner or a piece of paper. I do have my Freedom and Flow planner. I'm going to show y'all the cover as well. Now I have a hardcover because I made it myself. Because I'm the founder, and so I have a hardcover. The hardcover is not available to the public right now just because I would have to charge y'all like $125. And I'm gonna think, maybe in a future time, but as of right now, I feel like the girlies may not be ready for a $125 planner. So make sure you have your planner or a piece of paper out, and we are going to dive in. I'm going to ask you all 4 of the questions that are at the end of every month's reflection. One of the questions that I'm going to ask and that you can write down in your journal, write down on a piece of paper is in what ways did I feel free this month? Because it is the Freedom and Flow planner, I think it's really important to identify what freedom looks like for you. Is it having freedom over your schedule, being able to have freedom in what you do creatively, what you do for work? All of those things matter. I know that this month was amazing in that it was my birthday month. I turned 35 at the very beginning of the month, May 2nd. It was also a month I feel like I got to spend a lot of fun downtime with my kids. I got to spend a lot of time with friends. Just beyond my birthday celebration, I also just got together with different friends to go to the movies or to meet up for tea. I'm not a coffee drinker, so I said meet up for tea, different things like that. And it just felt good to be able to hang out in the middle of the day, not necessarily feel a compulsion to check my watch or check my phone and see what time it was because I knew there were no other things that I had on my list. I will also say I felt very free this month because if you all have watched previous videos, you know that I wrote my first article for Essence Magazine earlier this year, and I got paid for it, which is so exciting. And the payment actually hit my bank account this month. And the reason why I tie that to freedom is because I think there's a past version of myself that felt like in order to be paid to do things, I just kind of had to bite the bullet and understand there were just certain things that I had to do, even if I didn't like them. And so the fact that I got paid to write and I love to write, that made me feel incredibly free. I also will say being present on Mother's Day. My husband and my dad, they planned a really chill day for me and my mom on Mother's Day. They ordered food and they got it to the house. They brought it to the house. So we just ate and then laid out on the couch. Me and my mom laid out on the couch. We FaceTime my sister who lives out in Cali, and it was a beautiful day. It was so chill. I have a photo of me and my children on the couch, and I told my mom, I said, I think it's one of my favorite pictures that I have of them. I think it's one of my favorite pictures that I have of me and them because it just was us in the moment. It wasn't staged, it wasn't perfectly poised. It was just a real moment because my dad said, "Hey, let me get a picture of all y'all." And I said, "If you could take it of us here on the couch, sure." And he did. And I was laughing and it was just perfect. So that's the first question is what ways did you feel free this month? The second question is where are you feeling fulfilled and where are you still searching for fulfillment? Where are you feeling fulfilled and where are you still searching for fulfillment? This is a question that requires a lot of honesty. At the beginning of the year, I recognized that I was still looking for fulfillment in my career. And one of those reasons is because I wasn't giving myself the freedom to do the things that I truly, truly love, which is writing and speaking. And so I think that that's an area where I feel extremely fulfilled. I feel fulfilled in my relationships like the ones with you, Tiff, and the other ladies in the group chat, like Jocelyn and Akia and Yana, our fearless founder, right? Just there's such an incredible community there. And I feel extremely rich in that area because I can think of times where it just was not the case. And so in the planner, that is the second question I want you to answer. If you have your planner, and if you don't, you can grab one at briannalightfootsmith.com/flow or just answer your questions here on a piece of paper. Other areas where I felt extremely fulfilled this month are the fact that I was able to secure my first rest intensive client. And that even ties back to what I was saying about being fulfilled in relationships because it was a direct referral from a dear friend who's a part of my community that we've coined each other the Coin Crew. It's four of us: me, Adrian, Darlene, and Olanike. And I think there was just something really validating in someone not just believing in my work enough for them to be a client, but for them to refer my work out to someone else. Because y'all know business is relationships. And so people are putting their net, if the people are willing to put their reputation on the line to advocate for you and your particular services, that's a big deal. So that was really great. Question three, and there's a total of one, two, three, four, 6, 7. There's 7 questions in this part of the planner, but we're just going to go over 4 today. Question 3 is what step can I take today to bridge the gap between what I desire and what I want to be my reality? Now, I want you all to think about this, and you can drop your answers in the chat. Don't think of 50 things that you could do, right? Think of the one thing, like if this one area in your life shifted, what could that look like for you? What could it look like for your family? What could it look like for your team if you're a leader in your company, within your own business, or for a corporation, right? Think about what is the one thing that I can do to bridge the gap between where I am now and where I want to be. I'm gonna let y'all think about that for a second. For me, I realized that the answer is being as intentional with my money as I am with my time. Now, notice I said intentional and not regimented or restricted. I truly feel like I embody my rest framework, restore, energize, sustain, track. And there's so much room within it to breathe. And so when I think about my money, I think that that is an area that there's more room to breathe than I think I've allotted. And I want to make sure that I'm making choices that align with the goals and the values that I have. And I'll share more about this in just a bit, but I realized with this month being a really great revenue month for my company, I was kind of having a analysis paralysis moment of, okay, where is this money best utilized, right? Do I put it towards savings? Am I putting it towards my debt freedom goals? What is the answer going to be? And I realized that I wanted to I wanted my money to accomplish a few different things, but I still needed to attach a number to it. And I was able to create a tool that helped me to do that. As I shared, I'll talk about that in a little bit. The last question, question number 4, is what goals did I have at the beginning of May that are now misaligned with where I am headed? Now, this is a permission slip question because some of us are holding on to goals that we made in January or maybe made at the end of the year in December and say, you know what? This is going to be my year to do X, Y, and Z. And as the year has progressed, maybe those goals have shifted because you as an individual are growing and evolving. I will also say there are some of us who set goals at the beginning of this year and you've reached those goals, you've accomplished those goals. And so now that you've accomplished them, you have to give yourself permission to continue to move forward, not without celebrating how far you've come with your accomplishment, because I think as high achieving, high capacity women, the achievement piece is easy. We're used to checking things off our list. We're used to setting these goals, creating these metrics, meeting them, exceeding them. But we need to understand once we've exceeded the goals, one, hopefully we're not attaching them to our identity because sometimes that happens as well, right? Where we set this goal, we thought it was going to take us 6 months to a year to accomplish it. We've done it in the first 3 months of the year. And now you're like, okay, so do I just kind of sit on my hands for the rest of the year? No, you don't. First, you celebrate. Tiffany did a TED talk this month, which is incredible and amazing. Her one of her sons graduated, so also incredible and amazing. And she said they took a trip. So I love the fact that she took time to actually celebrate and pause. But now it's like, okay, where are the goals? What are the goals that I have for the rest of this year? Or if we just want to look at June, what are the goals that I have for June? And how can I be intentional about tracking the progress on them? And that's even the reason why I have tea as a part of the rest framework, because we need to understand we're out here, we're doing things, we're getting things accomplished. But it's important to check in with ourselves and say, okay, is this something I still care about? Am I still moving in the right direction? I think for me, this is something that when it comes to my finances, if I was more intentional about tracking, I know I would be, I can't say child, because we say how we would have done. It's like if you would have done it, maybe you would have done it. But I like to think that I would be debt free by now. I was more intentional about tracking, and not even so much tracking spending, but tracking how much I was earning. Really paying attention, like, girl, this much money came in. You had the space, you had the margin to get a little bit more aggressive with your debt repayment. But maybe because of how things were years ago, you just holding on to it tight, right? And I'm actually reading a book right now by Kara Stevens. I actually have the pleasure of knowing. in real life. We have never met, but she's one of my internet peeps, right? Heal Your Relationship with Money. It's a really good read. It's a 28-day journey, and she has you do life work at the end of every chapter. And she tells you to give your money a name, write a journal entry as your money. It's very, very good. So, highly recommend Heal Your Relationship with Money by Kara Stevens. I'm also reading Audacious by Marty McDonald, who is a DFW girly. She's from Tennessee, let me be clear, because she reps her hometown, but she lives in the DFW now. She's also a woman of faith, and I've really been enjoying reading her book. I think the chapter I read today about authenticity really stuck with me because she was just sharing how so many times we operate out of alignment because of people's expectations, or because we're told like we should be grateful that we are where we are, that we have what we have. And that ties back to this question of, what goals did I have at the beginning of the month that no longer align with where I'm going? Because if we're honest, and I see you, Tiff, said that this is a good question to sit with. If we're honest, some of us have set goals not even because we never cared about them, but because someone else said that this is what we should do. People say, "Oh, you need to build a team. You need to have a team." So you say, "Okay, yeah, I'll build a team." "Oh, you need to buy a house." "Okay, you bought a house." "Okay, you need to get into real estate investing. You need to start flipping houses." And you just start doing all of this stuff because everyone told you that that's what you should be prioritizing, and somewhere you lost your own way. And then that is where, in my opinion, burnout comes. It's putting all of these misaligned things on your plate. And Tiffany's somebody who talks a lot about alignment as well. Make sure y'all check out her podcast. It's on all of the platforms, right, Tiff? You can drop that in the chat. But her platform is Align and Amplify. All right, so we answered our 4 questions. Now I want to kind of just do a high level May in review. I shared earlier that May was my birthday month. I turned 35 this month, and I feel so much more like myself, if that makes sense. I know I can especially speak to the mamas in the community, mamas who may go back and watch this. And I'm going to try and say this without getting emotional, because I feel myself getting emotional all of a sudden. But when you become a mother, the version you were before children dies. That's just it. Point blank, period. She's just not the same person. And there are things, habits and hobbies and things that you enjoy, that those don't necessarily die, but you find yourself making excuses for why you can't do them because you're prioritizing your children. And this year, I've really been prioritizing the things that bring me joy. I've been really paying attention to that E part of my framework, energizing. Like, what are the things that I find to energize me? What brings joy? What brings excitement? And it's one of the reasons why I got here on YouTube, because I realized the editing was an energy leak for me. But doing YouTube lives made me feel like I was doing a speaking engagement and being able to get in conversations with people versus it just being a one-way street, right? And so I think that it's so important for us to pay attention to those things that give us energy. I had 2 paid speaking engagements this month, which was such a blessing, and that also gave me so much energy. And I just feel so grateful. Just feel grateful because it doesn't have to be like this. And something I shared at a speaking engagement that I did yesterday is that joy is data, y'all. We pay attention to how our kids are feeling. We see them, we look them in their faces, and we say, "Oh, I can tell you feel a little bit off, or you look sleepy." This one came here, climbed my lap, went to bed. I could already tell that that was what was coming, right? But when it comes to us, we don't always pay attention to the signs. And I'm not even saying the negative signs, I'm saying the positive ones too. or you go and you sit with a friend and you all are laughing, and you come back home and you feel like you have the energy to do something creative, or maybe even approach a task that you've been procrastinating on, because now that your cup has been filled, you can pour out a little more again. And all of those things have been things that I've been able to enjoy even in just 1 month of my 35th. And so I'm grateful for that. Other wins of this month I shared: highest revenue month for Be Light Media, highest revenue since like 2024 when I had Brands by Bree, and I did my live coaching class. It was a group coaching program called Profitable Products, where I taught moms how to earn $500 to $1,500 a month by offering a physical or digital product. And so I haven't had a revenue month like this month since back then. And I have to do the numbers, but I think this month even exceeded that. And I'm grateful for that. But as I shared, I really wasn't sure what to do with that yet. I was like, okay, so I got this money. I knew to save. I have a profit account that I opened up earlier this month. So I was like, okay, I know at least 10 is going to savings. I tithe, I give to my church. My husband would say offering is like tithe because he was like, that was agriculture. Anyway, I tithe slash give an offering to my church. So that was 10%. And I said, okay, well, what do we do with the 80%, sis? And I can't even say that I'm fully satisfied with how I spent it, because I spent some on inventory in preparation for events that are coming up. I spent I am very grateful for some networking, like communities and groups that I invested in. I'm already in the group chat. I shouted them out already. I am now a part of Her Texas, which is a networking community out here in the DFW that I have watched for years, and I've seen them really do some awesome things. And they ran a deal this month where you could join their community. So I signed up for that, totally worth that. And I made a couple of investments in some events that I wanted to go to this year, because I actually said that 2025 was going to be my year of going outside and doing things. And I did, absolutely, on the personal side, but on the professional side, I didn't really go to that many events. And I'm intentional with what things I go to, because I am a mother of 4 children. I have a husband whom I love dearly. I actually like being home. The kids be trying me sometimes, right? But I enjoy my home. And so this time is extremely precious to me. And I understand that every yes to something out there somewhere is a no to something with my family. But the events that I've highlighted to go to this year are very much aligned with where I want to be. And one of them actually came out here to Dallas, but I wasn't able to attend. And I saw that they're doing an event in Atlanta. So I'm going to go to that event. The Atlanta event was actually my first event that I had highlighted of wanting to go to for the year, but then I saw they were coming to Dallas, and I'm not gonna lie, I was being a little cheap. I was like, I'll just go to the Dallas one instead of getting the full experience. And then the Dallas one ended up being on my birthday, and I just had too much going on. And again, those trade-offs. I said, you know what, sister, we're not gonna go to this one. We're gonna go to the one in Atlanta. Other fun things that happened this month: I updated my personal website. I'm gonna give y'all a little sneak peek because I am very proud of her. Her being my website, it pretty much took the whole month, but I think it looks so good. I'm sharing my screen. So this website, establishing Rest First Leadership for High Capacity Women. I just dropped a photo of me and my fam in there because they really are so much of the reason I do what I do, and I do it the way that I do it. I have my talks on here. I also updated our shop page. I mean, I updated the entire site of my faith, you all. So these have our tools, what some of our most are, the digital Freedom and Flow Planner, the tool we're going to talk about in just a second, the Rhythm Reset, which is a live virtual event Our next one will be in August, and these are some free resources here at the bottom, including my REST assessment, where you can go in here, find out what your REST archetype is, get some action steps on how you can prioritize REST more. And then I have a resource hub for people who have bought planner videos on how to use everything, toolkits, book recommendations. Like we redid the whole y'all. So I'm super grateful to have just had the space, honestly, to do that this month, because my former business was web design, and I got to a place, and I feel like hairstylists, nail techs, anyone who's in the service industry can understand when you are so caught up in doing things for your clients, you don't do them for yourselves. And that's how it was with my website. I had one because I knew it was important, but it wasn't optimized the way that it is now. So I absolutely love it. I feel like I am going to be much more intentional in the upcoming months about pushing more traffic to that website. And I even have some business collaborations that are in the works right now that I hope to be able to do backlinks and share other people's content on the website. It is just coming together. I did our business website as well, but I'll share that in a different video because this is primarily like Brianna. How is she doing? And in the midst of all these things, y'all, as I shared at the very beginning, had a lot of downtime with the kids, end of school year, all of the celebrations. And it felt just so good to be able to go to the schools, be up there, even if it was a 2 hour, 2.5 award celebration, and not have to constantly be checking my clock or texting my manager and saying, hey, I'll be out at any moment, or hey, yeah, I can't get to the email right now, but I'm at my kids' thing. I'll be in the office in a second. I just was able to be fully present, and that was a gift. Last thing for big things that happened this month is that I dove into my podcast batching because I'm bringing my podcast back July 15th, but I want to make sure that I can sustain. You see how we have covered almost every pillar? Only one you haven't covered yet is restore. But I want to be able to sustain the pace of the podcast. And in order to do that, I planned out the entire season, and then I am in the process right now of batching out the content. So me and my audio engineer met a couple weeks ago. We were together for maybe 2.5 hours. We're able to crank out about 7 or 8 episodes. And the goal is for the season to have 16 episodes. So we should be able to get that done in the next 2 sessions. And I am so grateful because the way I laid it out, July 15th should take us all the way to the holiday season. And the nice thing is, because I'm batching it now, that when the episodes actually go live, and I know Tiffany understands this, when the episodes go live, I'm just focused on promoting them rather than wondering like, okay, what am I going to talk about this week? Because decisions you have to make in real time, those are the decisions you end up just butchering sometimes because you just can't think. All right, y'all. Now, the big reveal. I shared with you all that May was my highest revenue month for my business, and that it was a little bit of a juggle for me in understanding what needed to be allocated where. And even as I look back, I could see where the big investment was the inventory, because I was preparing for an event. And then ironically, the event host, when she paid me for my speaking, she just got planners built in with my speaker fee. So I really could have gone without getting extra planners. But no losses, just lessons. And the way that I'm looking at it now is that when my orders come in on the site, because planner sales did slow down in the month of May, but prayerfully, then picking up June, middle of the year, people looking to reset their rhythm, right? I'll be able to ship those directly as opposed to having to do drop shipping. So that'll be really good. But I think that as women, especially high capacity women, we're really good at making money. We're not always good at telling it where to go. We can hustle, we can earn, we can grow the money. One of the women in our community, Jocelyn, she is really excellent at teaching women how to invest, whether you have a 9 to 5 or you have a business. Check her out at maximizemoney.com. Okay. And she did not pay me to say that. She's just my girl. And that's what I do. If I know what you do, I'm going to tell people about you, especially when I know you do it well. So go to maximizemoney.com if you want to learn more about investing. We often, as women, can be great at the earning piece, but then the allocation piece is hard, especially when we have goals that feel like they are conflicting. So we say, okay, I want to save money. I want to start a sinking fund for my trip. I also want to pay off debt. Also, I want to get the baby in swimming lessons. It's like, okay, one of these things is going to have to pause. Not even that it can't happen, but some of these things can't happen simultaneously. So I was able to create this tool. It is the Freedom and Flow Financial Planner. It is a digital planner. It's $37. It's a one-time fee. And the beautiful thing about it is that if you are an entrepreneur, whether you be a creative entrepreneur, if you're a coach or consultant, you can put in your numbers, what your average income is, what your highest month has been, what your lowest month has been, and and then tell it your goals, what debt you have, if any, and it'll spit out a plan for you. I am going to show y'all just a little preview of that real quick. Yes. So this is what the inside of the dashboard, and this is just a sales page, belightmedia.co/finance. But this is what your dashboard, the inside of it will look like. It'll tell you, okay, you have a surplus of money after bills. Let's throw it at this debt. Or if you are debt free, it'll say, okay, let's allocate it to the specific savings. There is a toggle tool in here where you can make this go up and down based on whatever your month's income is. And Remy is the name of my ideal customer avatar. So I had Remy get her custom plan in here. Notice it has space for your emergency fund, tax bills for us as entrepreneurs, how much debt you want to pay off. And then you can quickly edit things as income is coming in. So if you have a high revenue month and it goes past what your even stretch goal is, then you can reset your plan and be able to make intentional tracking for that. What I love as well is that you can save it and return to it anytime, and it just saves in your browser. So this is not information that we get access to as Be Light Media. This is not information that's shared or sold anywhere. It just is on your dashboard. And if you clear your search history, then all the information would be cleared as well. This is what it looks like when it's asking you the questions about your income picture. And there's some people who are self-employed only, some people who are W-2 only, and some people have a W-2 because they said, child, I'm trying to get this business where I need it to be. So you might be both. And you can put that. You can even put if you are in a partnership, if you're married, you can put if you have someone who's helping contribute to that income. So it's really great. This just shows the difference between the Freedom and Flow financial tool and typical budget tools. And then this is what it might look like on your phone, mobile device. So that's a little bit about it. You can check it out at belightmedia.co/finance. And if you use the promo code FLOW10, you can get money off as well, because that's just a thank you for being here with me as I'm sharing. So we have covered a lot. We have a few minutes left. Let's do our June setup, and we are going to do that in the planner as well. So if you do have your Freedom and Flow planner, go ahead and flip to your first. And this is the month of June, so you can do your June setup whenever you're ready. But we're going to flip to, and then it has the mind map. That's something else you have in here. With your goals, break down your weekly goals. We're not setting those up today. If you all want me to do a separate video just with the goals, let me know and I will do that. But we had a lot of great May updates, so I wanted to make sure that I gave time for that. And I also don't want to hold y'all on here too long because it's still a Sunday evening. All right, so open up to your BLT sheet. This is where you're going to put your brain dump, list by priority, and then take time. All right, week of, you're going to put 6-1 through 6-7. Yeah, I know all the Gen Zers like 6-7. All right, 6-1, actually 6-1 through 6-8. So we're doing 1 week. And you're going to brain dump the things that need to get done this week. So I know I need to send a follow-up for the speaking engagements I did this month, ask for testimonials. I need to review my batching plan for the podcast. Continue reading my books. Let's see. Other things that we need to get done this week. Hair appointment. I already had a conversation last week with Jocelyn with Maximize Money, but I have on my calendar to talk to a few more money girls about the Freedom and Flow financial planning tool and how they might be able to plug in. There's one woman who is really great and has a program around debt repayment. So I want to be able to get her into that wheelhouse. And then there's another woman who helps women increase their income by launching a coaching business. I want to make sure I talk to her as well. Follow up with Lauren. One thing, and you can drop a one in the chat if you agree, one thing I think people do not talk about enough when it comes to business is the fact that at least 10%, and I'm being generous at putting it that low, because it could be as high as 30% of running a business is following up with people that you've talked to already. So many people to follow up with. Okay. I did a trial run for the Restwell dashboard for a group out here in the DFW. I want to make sure I follow up with them and see how things are going. I have some article pitches that I sent that I want to be published. So I got to follow up with them again and be like, hey, did you see my pitch? Anything I can edit for you? Y'all know our government is changing debt repayment plans for student loans, so I need to sign up for a new repayment plan. And on Friday, I have swimming. That's a new adventure of mine. And that was part of my business investment because I've been doing a good job at actually paying myself for my business. So one of the things that I invested in after I paid myself was some swim lessons because swimming is relaxing. And there's a place that does them right around the house around the corner from our house. So I'm going to do that. Now that I have all my brain dump things here, I'm going to go to list by priority, which is on this side. Notice there are 3 boxes for 5 days out of the week. That's because you think you just need to have 3 focuses for the day. Everything else is a bonus. I typically keep Mondays from for household admin things. So and none of these things are household. So I'm going to actually leave Monday's row blank. She's sleeping good, y'all. Tuesday, I'm going to do my follow-ups. Wednesday, I'm gonna do the pod review. Okay, I will definitely put that on my calendar, Tiff, to do the goals. Because I love talking about goals. The fun thing is that we can also come back and be like, all right, so friends, these are the goals we set. How do we do? Any combos. Right. Make sure you're putting fun things on here too, y'all. My friend and I, we might go to the movies on Tuesday, so we put movies with so. Did my hair on Wednesday. We're doing a Father's Day photo shoot on Thursday. And I already started dropping in the take time. Ooh, where'd it go? Where'd it go? Where'd it go? These are my take time items. So anything that is specifically attached to a calendar, date and time, I'll put in the take time section and put the time. And then I will also, if it's not already in there, I will put it in my phone's calendar. All right, last piece, y'all. We're doing good on time. We're at 42 minutes. I share that because when we just do plan with me, it's about 20 minutes. You can truly plan your week in about 20 minutes, and you are worth that 20 minutes to not be walking through the week wondering, okay, what am I supposed to be doing? And then you just do anything because you didn't make a plan. Drop in any appointments you have here. Ooh. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then you have your Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I know my son has robotics this week. I have dinner plans on Tuesday. Hmm. Mhm. Go to the park with the kids. I feel like I have something on Thursday, but I'm nap trapped and can't look at my phone right now. So I'll go back and look after we get off of here. Sunday is first Sunday. That's it. So I've dropped in just a few things. Notice I don't have hours by this because, child, especially if you have kids, they don't care about your hours. I just make sure I have it on here to be done at some point during the day. There is a section at the bottom for meetings and appointments. And these things, some of them you find in multiple sections because the more times you write it down, the more likely you are to remember. So you have your take time section on the page before, and then you might take these same tasks here and put them on your meetings list and the goal list to remember because you've written it down so many times. And then you're going to get extra credit because you're also putting it in your phone. And if you're feeling really fancy, you can set an alert on it. So that is our planning session. As I shared, I'll do goals as a separate video. Thanks for that feedback, Tiff. I'll do goals as a separate video. 'Cause I also just need to pray on what, like, Lord, what are the goals for this month, for June? When He let me know, I'll report back to you. So I hope that you all enjoyed this month in review. I'm glad that I sat down to do this. I shared at the very beginning that I was feeling tired, but this is one of my energizers. I'm feeling so much better than I did before I got on here. If you have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments and I can comment back. I'm also over on LinkedIn. If you are a woman who's building a business and you want a supportive community, definitely check out the group chat. I'll leave a link to that in my comments. I'm actually one of the affiliates for it because I rep it so hard anyway. So I'll put that in the comments. And then make sure you check out the Freedom and Flow planner at briannalightfootsmith.com/flow. And then the financial planner is actually at Brianna Lightfootsmith. It's okay, boo. .com/freedom. I just dropped both of those links in the comments. I hope to see you all for our next planning session, which will be in a couple of weeks. And I will be dropping a separate video with my goals. That'll probably be a pre-recorded one. And I'll let you all know when it's live. All right. Hope you guys have an amazing week. Bye. Bye-bye.